I do it for the earth and climate, for those with no voices, and turn a blind eye and trade it in for bloody hands, bloody hands. We are all just climbing the stairway to hell, and we are all just climbing the stairway to hell. And I can't tell if we're all just scared, or if we just don't care. All right, my name's Thana Boonlert. I'm super excited to be here today for Regeneration Society's Moving Mountains music event. If you guys didn't know, this event is part of the City of Calgary's Climate Symposium, which is an annual thing, which is so amazing to see that the city here, the municipality, is wanting to do something for climate to raise awareness. Throughout the years, I've been going to this regularly now, and obviously during a non-pandemic time, we can do this in person. There's amazing speeches, there's amazing artist events, there's expos going on. But this year, due to certain occasions here, we're still carrying this forward, and it's still happening, but online. So super stoked to see that happening. The part of this year's new style, though, because of the COVID and whatnot, there have been some satellite events, and this is one of them. This is the Regeneration Society's Moving Mountains music event. And Regeneration Society has a bunch of different events that have been going on over the past few days, and there's still a few more going on after this as well. If you didn't know much about Regeneration Society, what they're aiming to do, the ultimate goal, is to raise awareness to climate change, of course, and also the intersectional issues that revolve around that. I myself, I am one of the past students of the Regeneration Society when it was used to be called the Next Up. I took the Climate Leadership Program as well as the 6 months Next Up leadership program as well. And it's completely changed the way I view the world, and as well as how I interact with people, and how I use different lenses to view issues. In saying that, I would really like to recognize that there's a lot of hate going on around in the world right now, and one in particular that I would like to acknowledge is racism and the Asian hate that's going on. I know that on my way here to the studio today, there was an amazing march that I wasn't able to attend, but very happy to see that people were marching and standing up for Asian folks. As well, another march that was happening around the same time today is people standing up for saving the mountains around here in Alberta on the slope side, and protesting for not having more development to coal here in Alberta. And I'd like to acknowledge that because it's amazing to see people finally standing up and wanting to change society and how it's run, and also having our voices heard. But hey, we're here today for music and for climate. And furthermore, I'd like to also recognize that the first people here in Treaty 7, in what we call today Calgary, they use music and poetry and words in their own ways to to describe the way the water flows in the Bow River, the way the water flows in the Elbow River, and to describe the feelings of how we interact and relate with the environments, and how the sun shines and how the moon rises up, and the feelings of hurt, of jealousy, of happiness. Those are the same type of emotions and issues that we still see today in music and in poetry. And that's why we're here today. We want to show how we can use music and art to really use that platform to talk about these issues, and to get people motivated to hopefully do some more, or at least emotionally charge you to want to learn about it, right? And we have 4 amazing artists today, ranging from singer-songwriters to poet, to a poet, sorry. And these are all people that I've met throughout the few years here in Treaty 7 in Calgary, and just super excited to show you guys their performances here. And after the sets, we will be doing a live interview with Lisette Xavier. We're going to have some real talk, just have a conversation about her, about her music, about the issues here in Canada and whatnot, and just very, very excited to do that. Before we get to there, I'd like to give a big thank you to Eric Minden Production, who is behind the set right now. He's doing all this stuff live. He's got all the video production going on. If any of you artists out there ever need some music production and whatnot, please give him a shout. He's amazing, and he's based right here in Calgary. Another quick shout out before we get started here is to Mike Byerly, who is the program manager for the Regeneration Society. He's always been doing so many great things throughout the past decade here in Calgary, maybe even more than that, in terms of climate change, in terms of social justice, and it's somebody a lot of us really look up to. And he's the one who invited me to be the host today, which I'm honored to be here for. So without further ado, though, you know what? I better introduce the first guest. Our first guest performer is Lisette Xavier. I don't want to get too much into her bio because we will be interviewing her, but she is one of my favorite people here in Calgary. She's also my vocal coach, just as of recent, so hopefully I did her somewhat proud here in my first performance live in Calgary. But her laugh is contagious, her sarcasm is contagious, and her songwriting is on point. She's been featured on CTV multiple times. She's very vocal about things that need to change here in Calgary, and she's just an awesome human being in general. So without further ado, here's Lisette Xavier.
Hey everyone, I'm Lisette Xavier, and I'm really excited to be here and to be a part of this conversation initiative about climate change, which can seem really daunting as an individual, but I think that when things like this happen and we're able to connect with so many people that are kind of on the same page, it reminds us that many voices can be very loud together. So thank you for being here. I have a short set for you today, so I'm gonna jump right into it. This first song is an original, and it is called Catch My Breath.
Give me room to breathe.
funny because yesterday I needed a new toothbrush. And so when I went to the grocery store, most of my choices were the same as usual. But when I went to buy a toothbrush, I saw that I had options, and I chose a wooden toothbrush instead of a plastic one. And I remember my initial thought was, this is such an insignificant choice because, like, what is one toothbrush? But then I read something once that, you know, when you're making these choices, you have to imagine a million people doing it with you, because that's what's happening, right? Like, a ton of people are making little choices, and, you know, the big corporations, the people that, you know, are really making an impact negatively as far as this conversation goes, they look at those dollars. They do pay attention. So I think that, you know, next time you're making a choice and you feel like this is insignificant, just remember, you know, Lisette's there with you. I'm doing the same thing, and together we're hopefully making lasting change. This next song I'm going to play for you is a cover. It's called Clarity, and I hope you dig it. I don't know what that was. I have one last song for you. Thank you again so much for being here. My name is Lisette Xavier. I hope you were able to enjoy the other concerts and, you know, check out some of the other seminars that are happening. And, you know, we'll all be better tomorrow. This last song is another original, and it's called Self-Destructive.
Well, I don't drink, but I'm a little sloppy. I'm a wreck. Wish that I could stop me. I've got these tendencies. Worst thing about me, I don't drink, but I'm a little sloppy. I'm a wreck. Wish that I could stop me. I've got these tendencies. Self-destructive tendencies. My fire lives in my mouth, my eyes skew reality. And if you choose to stay, you got some self-destructive tendencies. Shadow drink, but I'm a little sloppy. I'm right. Wishing I could stop me. I've got these tendencies. Worst thing about me, I don't drink, but I'm a little sloppy. I'm right. Wishing I could stop me. I've got these tendencies. Self-destructive tendencies. You're about to see worst thing about me. My fire lives in my mouth, my eyes skew reality. And if you choose to stay, you've got some self-destructive tendencies. Try to drink, but I'm a little sloppy. I'm a wreck, wishing they could stop me. I don't drink, but I'm a little sloppy. I'm a wreck, wishing I could stop me. Self-destructive tendencies. Self-destructive tendencies. You're about to see.
All right, keep taking care of yourselves, keep taking care of others. I'm Lisette Xavier. See you next time.
He didn't even have sleeves on, and they call him the lyrical pit bull for a reason, and you guys will see soon. But to let you guys know as well, he is a slam poetry champion. He's an educator. He's a literacy advocate, mental wellness advocate. He's a recovery advocate as well, and just an all around such a powerful presence when you're around him, and just extremely charismatic as well. And I'm just so excited for you guys to check him out. So here's Wakefield, Brewster.
Hello, good day, greetings and salutations, warmest welcome. My name is Wakefield Brewster, aka the Lyrical Pitbull, professional poet and spoken word artist from Calgary, Alberta. I'd like to say thank you for having me at this Calgary Climate Symposium. I'd like to right away thank Moving Mountains, the Regeneration Society, the City of Calgary, Mike Byerly, and especially Thana Boonlert, who reached out to me in the first place and asked if I would indeed be a very small part of this very big thing. I would like to say that my contribution will be poetic to this symposium. I have chosen 3 poems, one called Community, one called Death by Numbers, and finally H2O. Community, it's all about exactly that. No matter what we are all tackling, it's best not alone, it's best with others, there's strength in numbers. And even when we are divided, if you look carefully, there are always overlaps to keep us as one community. Death by Numbers, this is a poem that brings out a sense of urgency. Using numbers, I show that they are blatantly in our face, that they are hidden, that they are hiding in plain sight. And some of the relationships that I make are real, surreal, and they are simply to exploit the way man and numbers do and don't get along. We're dealing with a lot of numbers right now, so I found this pretty apt. And finally, H2O. It was inspired by the Walkerton water crisis, because I'm originally a Torontonian. Don't hold that against me. And honestly, it was a little too small to just write a poem about Walkerton, because most people have never heard of it. However, I was able to expand this poem and look at all the different relationships man has with water in the environment around him. I find that the universality about this poem is that when I talk about water, no one's left out. Community. There's so much in the room, so much spirit and essence. It comes from priority, positive presence, and in all this effervescence, we all shine incandescence. This is the realest on the reel of reality, for frontin' and foolin' only fosters fatality. The death of what knows, the death of what shows, the reason for slows, the reason for woes. Let's all plant seeds of what goodwill grows. Let's all wet a drop in the goodwill flows. I have always personally believed that success does not lie solely in intelligence, but also in communication and common sense. So where it truly counts, please all let's recompense, 'cause it ain't all about poignant piles of pence. Lead a flock of one if you must, shun the sheeple. We do it for the premise, we do it for the people. Let's rival the sun like a proud and tall steeple. Through all those good deeds that we deem possible, seeking out solutions and pressing out the plausible. Coming out of comfort zones and coming together, tapping our technology to tighten the tether. Look at how the palette in this place is the proof, the clearest commonality, supporting the youth. It takes a whole village just to raise one child. Without the greatest guidance, they gon' run buck wild. But here we all are with the greatest intention. Props to moving mountains, honorable mention. Allowing me to bring to thee my artistic expression. To compliment complacently and deepen this depression that we're making on this place called Earth. The urgency to work together, work it what it's worth. Libraries, calm centers, clean cities, life mentors. Tell on atop the mountain and let your angels sing it. Say it on the microphone, I wait for y'all to bring it. Bring it to the boardrooms, bring it with impunity. Bring it to the forefront and bring to your community. This is Death by Numbers. There must be something wrong with my arithmetic. This ill-divided world could truly make me sick. For all I've ever needed to learn in life has got my mental on the blunder. Every time I turn around, I'm being fooled by a number, schooled by a number. I once, twice, thrice heard that once 1 and 1 was 2, after 1 before 3, but it also was 11. And I uncovered nothing lucky but the fabled number 7. For greed, lust, envy, sloth, gluttony, pride, and wrath, you do the math. We subtract from Mother Earth and then we start multiplying. Like a virus on the reckless while the earth keeps dying. Some of us wonder why we keep on trying. Because no matter how much we got, we act like time be ticking hot. But truly this time, like an endless platoon, we be running out of room. We created 3 worlds cause we be running out of room. In the 3rd world, 4,000 children die daily, due diligence to disease, distemper, dementia, destruction, disdain, depression, despair, and dysfunction. And we be running out of room. The 2nd world, containing concepts of calculating communism, created the construct commencing the crushing Cold War, and we be running out of room. In the 1st world, we got appetites like gigabytes. Environmental pugilists keep losing fights because the man be fighting techno hippies with knits full of nanites, nesting in the blackest undercover of forest-filled nights, and we be running out of room. Glaciers receding, volcanoes exploding, the waters are bleeding, the soil is eroding, plate tectonics breaking down like ebonics, our cultures are broken, Mother Nature has spoken, and we be running out of room. H1N1 present in swine since 1999, claimed 23,000 in a very short time. Avian flu gripped 5,000 by two, as plague bubonic moved at rat supersonic, as tens of millions fell victim to chronic malaria and mosquitoes, number man by the millions, while they bred by the trillions. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, so saith the shepherd, so saith the flock. Farmageddon is upon us, brothers and sisters, so saith the shepherd, so saith the flock. And we be running out of room, and then we aim for the stars to do the same thing to Mars. Because we be running out of room. We've been run by the numbers, like being run by the bulls. We've been done like dinner, but our belly never fulls. Planet number 3 is determined to devour planet number 4 of 8. 9. It must bear the bounty and the brunt of 6.78.2 billion. It's fine time to farm more land to fight the foreseen famine that it fathered. As we kiss the windshields of our cars, we think to buckle up, and why we never bothered. 100, merely a suggestion. To 140, made speed a killer commitment. 2020 is perfect vision, but only sees in hindsight. Common sense ain't common until we see that bright light stop. Like a ticker on triple bypass. Come join the Zipper Club. Like some long grain rice with Ann B in it to save your life. It only takes 5 minutes as men in white attempt to play hands of God, tenuously trying to turn back time on 44 years of working 9 to 7. The fact you were smoking since the age of 11, at least once every waking hour. Now at 5'4", you're squeezing 3, 2, 1 through the bathroom shower. Declining your 14 days to make 365 is the reason you lying there and barely alive. You being ruled by the numbers. And this time, it was a leap year. It was 366 that put your sorry self here. Now life is all but a stopwatch, quick ticking past the quintessential moments of your life, the quell to quest time creating catalytic strife. The space-time continuum has got you on the ripple by breaking it all down to your last participle. Your physician peers down like a cool calculator. Now the number 8 looks like a defibrillator. You've been mastered by the numbers, and finally infinity is realized by the letter C. Clear! H2O. There once was a time when we flowed like rhyme. Ebbs and tides flowed on our insides. We took no free rides. We just rode waves and dug sacred graves because we knew the earth saves. And when we dropped to our knees to drink at our seas, shores, eventually we ended up creating seesaws as we gazed into the depths and only saw the surface, the face of folly to come. We drank our own reflections with gluttonous vanity, gulped down gallons with thirsty profanity, draining drops like 3-pointers, pollute and then shoot into the earth a dirty needle. The sewers beneath are the burning veins of acid rains. Sludge and sickness pumped through pipes. Walkerton walked in medical plights, blacked out some lights, then led to court fights. And while the poor fight for it, the rich want to store it. We'll make you pay. We'll make you pay. The flow of H2O, we gonna keep on the stay. Locked up. They ain't gonna die for their supply be stocked up. So damn your creation of the Canal Suez and neglectful flex on the Exxon Valdez, because oil and water, they just don't mix. But slicks and puddles gives kids' heads tricks. You see, they think that it looks pretty. You see all the colors? Now they can finally touch a rainbow and make it dance like a beautiful woman. But once again, the image of life is washed away. Back to murky and muddy waters, our oceans sing the blues. Environmental channels hype to bring the bad news that we're all gonna lose. And I'm getting too confused because I used to drink my water from a bottle. I heard the vehicle of pollution was choking on the throttle. Then a rumor went about I could just not believe. I spelled Evian backwards and found I was naive. My gut is on the grieve. Believe you me. I'm enough pain, G. I first thought that I contracted ileitis or colitis, but from the water cooler I drank gastroenteritis. You see how Mother Nature spite us? She did it, she done it, and she'll do it once again. She'll fool us into thinking we can cheat our fated end, for we put the pain in her reign and then showered her with disrespect. And we gon' thirst worse unless we get this all in check, because when the oceans all evaporate, we can't make juice from concentrate. No fluid moving up and down in the locks. No creamy whipped potatoes from our cardboard box. We are damned and doomed ourselves a drunken dry demise in the stretching of the skin and the bulging of the eyes, because nobody tries. We'd rather drink lies. We hold fast to mistakes of the past, latch to the ludicrous and not liquid life, because we can't let go. Forget what you know. We've forgotten how to flow like water. Thank you.
And how about Wakefield, eh? Those words just move you. His passion just makes you want to know more and hear more about him and his stories. And that's the type of thing that words can do to you, and the emotions that it drives. And when used in the appropriate time sometimes for any social justice type movement, it could really empower people to do more and to want to learn more. And big thanks to Wakefield for doing that for the community here. He does a lot of spoken word stuff around town, so please do check him out. That's Wakefield Brewster. Our next performer is Spenser Sipe. She's absolutely amazing. Her smile is infectious. When I first met her, I believe it was at one of these small vegan market type things. We're both vegan, by the way. It was just so organic to meet somebody like that. We just connected right away. And then I learned recently, through Instagram of all places, of course, that she's a new rising artist. She's a singer-songwriter, and she's a queer indie folk artist. And her music is just so moving in a sense. She's recently even opened up for MBF. Sorry, I always butcher this name. Michael Bernard Fitzgerald. And I'm sure a lot of you know him, and he's just absolutely amazing. And yeah, so she's making quite a way for herself already in such a small amount of time. She's also the founder of 1961 Popcorn. It's a vegan popcorn thing that she does around town here to help raise some funds for the Alice Sanctuary. And she's also a very passionate advocate for animal justice. So super, super stoked that she's able to do this. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear what she's got to play for us. So here's Spenser.
Hello, I'm Spenser. I'm a queer indie folk artist living in Mochkinstsis, and I'm very happy to be a part of Moving Mountains Calgary Climate Symposium. This first one is called Coming of Age. In 1991, your journey began as you took your first trip round the burning sun. You didn't know how you would hit the ground, running, crashing into walls they built around you. Queer child 15 didn't quite fit in the box you'd been given. Time to rearrange and cut your hair, change your name, start to feel a little more at home in your frame, more like you. You always shine when you're tired of the bullshit and your constant charade. Time to be seen now. Take those walls and break them down. Dysphoria ladens your being. You sink out of yourself with that sick, heavy feeling. So you bind your chest, change pronouns, start to take those walls and bring them to the ground to be you. You always shine when you're safe in your body, when words all align with who you are inside. There's no in between, not a one or the other. Your magic can't fit into any binary. There's no in between, not a one or the other. Your magic won't fit into any binary. Oh. All of your 20s was your coming of age. Yeah, so I think the way the world is set up, it has so many structures in place to fit us all into boxes, and we are all so unique and need to be true to what feels good for us. So that's about that. And as for myself, when it comes to the climate and impact that I make, I'm fairly mindful about where I start in my home, with living a zero waste lifestyle as much as I can. And I'm very privileged. I live in a community where I'm very close to a refillery, so I have the means for that. I live a block away from my work, so I can walk to work. But there are just little changes every day that you can make. And I think the biggest thing that changed my world for me is talking to other people who are more mindful. I'm just one human with one brain, and you can learn so much from other people by talking to them and learning from them. So, I make my own plant-based milks at home, and working on getting stuff from Bulk Barn if I can, and really checking the facilities in Calgary to see what you can recycle there, what you can't, what is compostable and what isn't compostable, and just making little swap outs where you're able to. And I actually, I find it really fun and intentional, and it's really rewarding when the items that I'm eating, I know that I put extra love and time into, and I am aware that I'm really privileged that I do have the time to put into my food, and that I'm able to put in those little extra steps to do that. So that is my way of making a change, and also being mindful in my business. I have a vegan popcorn business, and just trying to find ways to reduce my footprint. So all of my popcorn is sold locally, and I don't ship my popcorn either, because shipping can have a pretty big negative environmental impact. So I think that for me, the biggest thing is community and talking to others. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And if you ever want to chat about anything, I'm always wanting to learn and share. So yeah, I'm Spenser Sipe on Instagram if you want to say hi and chat, because I love chatting. This next song is called Madness. The hardest part about floating in the Dead Sea is the salt that washes over your wounds and makes your eyes sting. It will heal you because it's the greatest of all your pains. Just dive head first into those rocky waters past the break. There is magic in the ocean, magic in the way you look at me. Sadness that those moments are far and few between. The hardest part about floating above the clouds is the heavy shit that tries to pull you down. But those clouds, they hang even in the darkest sky. I know you can't see them, but just trust me, love. Close your eyes. There is magic in the darkness, magic in the way I look at you. Sadness that you can't see, my love, when I need you to. This is one beginning I didn't want to end. The only beginning I'd want to start again. I will be here floating that I've already floated on by. So that was madness. I think as humans, we can all struggle in life, and sometimes we have to reach into some difficult places to kind of be able to solve things and figure them out, and to get to a good place. And I think so often in life, we're afraid to go there. And I think that the biggest thing is that you don't have to do it alone, and that community is all around. And I think that, changing the current state of the world can seem daunting as well. But as cliche as it is, truly, if we work together, we are so strong and we are so powerful. And I really, really do think that we can make a change. And even you yourself making small little moves every single day makes such a huge impact, because as a collective we are so strong. So thank you so much for being a part of the symposium, for caring about our earth, for being a part of a beautiful community who cares and puts in the effort. I'm very grateful, and thank you for having me today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And just know I am thinking about you and rooting for you. And if you ever want to talk, I am here. Bye.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Spenser. That was incredible. Really stoked to see you perform live again when things open up, of course, and hoping to see that EP come out soon as well. Our next performer, his name is Rome IX. He's incredible. He's an indie soul artist, but you know what? He does way more than that as well. He's also an actor, model. You've probably seen him in some commercials, some billboards. And you know what? He's even been in 2 of Lisette Xavier's videos. So this guy, he's got some skills. He's also got an EP coming out soon. Really excited for. I first saw Rome when he was only called Rome before the Rome IX at a 10 at 10 show, which was used to be a monthly show that happened at Commonwealth. It featured a lot of local hip hop artists, but also some R&B as well. And Rome was there that night, and I remember him getting on stage. He had his guitar. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. And there he was. He had his loop pedal and just looping everything. He was beatboxing, he was rapping, he was singing. Absolutely incredible. Super stoked for you guys to check out Rome IX. Here he is.
Hi, I'm Rome IX, and I'm a singer-songwriter here in Calgary. Just wanted to take a second to thank you for being here as part of the Calgary Climate Symposium. Thank you to the Regeneration Society and the City of Calgary for putting on this Moving Mountains performance series featuring myself and other talented artists from around the city, and also working to continue to bring awareness and growth and push our city towards a greener future and to bring about change. So thank you again for being here. Thank you again for having me, and I hope that you enjoy all the performances. my girl just kicked me out. She says I'm lame. Maybe she's got a point. Who gets the sack from Five Guys? She thinks I'm so incapable of change. Or maybe I could cut down on my sleep, give you what you need, take time and make time. Girl, I could stop procrastinating. Oh, oh. Be a little more prepared, show you that I care. I love you, I swear, girl. Oh, oh, oh. But tell me if I wasn't broke, would you spend more time with me like you said you do? Okay, tell me what I'm supposed to do, 'cause the only thing I need is to be loved by you. Hey, 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 hey. Ooh, 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 oh, ooh, 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 ooh. If I wasn't broke, ooh, 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 hey. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm starting out my 7th day of sofa surfing, parading in my Calvins with no shame. I sit and think to myself, I've hit the low, but look around and see no one to blame. Or maybe I could cut down on my sleep, give you what you need, take time and make time. Girl, I could stop procrastinating. Oh, oh. Be a little more prepared, show you that I care, I love you, I swear, girl. Oh, oh, oh. But tell me if I wasn't broke, would you spend more time with me like you said you do? Tell me what I'm supposed to do, 'cause the only thing I need is to be loved by you. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, 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 oh. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, oh, oh. Tell me what I'm supposed to do, 'cause the only thing I need is to be loved by you. Hey, 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 hey. Sweeter than perfume, breaking down my last defense. Smell of coffee fills the room. Feel you walking all over me. My palms are sweating, heart is pounding. Can't shake this feeling. I'm gonna do whatever you ask me. Go ahead and use me, leave me the way you found me. When my strength begins to fade and I start to drift away, you come rushing back, cold splash of water to the face. You wake me up. You wake me up. You wake me up. wanna beat around the bush. Now put it in your hands and you give a little push in the right direction. Point me to my section. You don't gotta run, you the only one elected, selected, specially. You know you the remedy. Ain't nobody settling, meddling in our melody. Jealousy's not a passion, lust the newest fashion. Can't make it when we break it cause we way past tense. Nothing ever makes sense, don't you see what you do to me? Losing sleep over love ain't nothing new to me, but you might be the first to ever do it so beautifully. My worst nightmare doesn't end when you wake me up. You wake me up. You wake me up, 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 up. You wake me up. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the good Lord keeps you away from me. I'm so tired, don't know how I'm still awake. Won't you give me a little break? There's nothing left for me to lose. Why am I feeling so confused? Time to face the simple truth. And when I'm with or without you, you wake me up. You wake me up. You wake me up. You wake me up. Overwhelming. I can't let this feeling go. You ain't taking over, give me control. Don't bring me down, just fill me out. Tell me you can feel this love. Tell me you can feel take a second, dedicate this record to my baby. Cash is checking. I think I need to check in. Doc, I'm here just double checking. She said the infection's setting, and there ain't no antidote for the dose of poisonous injection. Give me all your love, baby. Forget the million, you're the one. And a gun that set the stun. I'll be the sky you set your sun in. Maybe the father took your son, and someday maybe even your husband. I know it's a touchy subject. I ain't usually into rushing, but your radiance irradiates my radiated heart. Down with every hobby that we ever spend apart. You walked into my life, but I think I was meant to run into you. So I'll give you life and touch with the kiss, so I can stare into your eyes. Don't need a breath of fresh air. Don't need a breath of fresh air. Yeah. Don't need a breath of fresh air. Yeah. I don't need a breath, cause I don't need a breath of fresh air. Baby, your love's overwhelming, and I can't let this feeling go. You ain't taking Thank you again to the City of Calgary and the Regeneration Society for having me be a part of the Climate Change Symposium. I hope that you all continue to enjoy the conference. And I think just by the fact that you are here participating means that you are wanting to make a change. You are wanting to be a part of the difference. So thank you for making that step, being a part of the change, and helping the community to prepare for the future and continue to push forward. So thank you again. My name is Rome IX. I hope you enjoyed.
Awesome. And that was Rome IX. And as I said, his EP is coming out soon. Super, super stoked for it. And like I said, you can also probably see him on billboards, on commercials. He's even on some buses I've seen him on. Like, this guy's everywhere. And he should be. He's got a lot of talent. So thanks for that, guys. And now, today, we're joined with Lisette Xavier.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello. Thanks so much for coming down to the studio. We are socially distanced, of course, in this time. Hey, your performance was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm glad you could drive on over here and change your outfit right away.
Yeah, it was totally live. It was totally live, everyone.
Anyways, yeah, let's talk about you really quickly.
Sure.
And actually, you know what? Let's talk about us.
Let's talk
That's weird, but hey.
about us.
When we first met,
Yeah.
you might not remember, I first saw you at the Alice Sanctuary, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and there was a music night there to raise some funds for the rescued animals there, which we are both passionate about.
Yeah.
So was Spenser Sipe, who was on recently. And I remember you had your keyboard, you started singing a song, and I was just so darn impressed
Aw,
by what
thank
you
you.
had, your massive pipes that you were singing. And that sounded weird too. Songs were awesome. Tell us a bit about you and the Alice Sanctuary and how you got involved with that.
Yeah, I think that was part of a tour that I was doing, and it just worked out really well. They reached out to me and just asked if I'd be open to coming down and performing for their fundraiser that they did every year. I don't know if it's happening this year, but because of COVID.
Right.
But I kind of like snuck it in between dates so I could make it, and it's still like one of the best days of my life because I got to meet Ellis, the cow, who's like I've been following him on Instagram.
Yeah.
It sounds weird, but yeah, it was so awesome, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's such an amazing facility, and if you don't know about it, you get to go there, and they have tours, and they even have like a book club they had for a while for kids, so kids could go and read books to the animals, and it's just such a great space, and it was a good show. I remember.
Totally magical. And I think from there, I think we chatted a little bit, and I think we might have chatted on Instagram after that, and we met at one of your other shows.
That's right.
In Kensington, and I
Yeah.
think that's when we actually started becoming friends.
Yeah, and I remember seeing you,
Yeah.
and because it's always exciting when you like meet someone at a show and then you see them at another show.
Totally.
Yeah, and then that was fun because I remember because the Alice Sanctuary was like acoustic,
Yeah.
but then the next show you went to had the backtrack.
Yes.
So it was like full experience.
Super, super cool. And honestly, like I think it was like maybe 2 years ago since we first met, and I've watched you grown over
Oh,
the
thank
past
you.
couple years, and it's just been so cool to see your singles pop out and see your new music videos, and you've been on CTV a few times, and that's actually what I want to talk about really quickly right now.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
you've had a couple songs. The most recent one, "Rise Up," and then the one before that, "Almost Christmas," right? And I think those songs really hit a lot of people hard,
Oh,
like in the
thank you.
heart, right? It hit me good, and I got us tearing up and stuff. But I want you to tell us how you came to make those songs
Sure.
and like what it meant to you.
Yeah, so Almost Christmas I think I wrote it like December 9th and released it like December 13th or something. Like it was a very quick turnaround, and I was just feeling kind of mopey, which I think a lot of people kind of related to, but it was really hitting me that I wasn't going to be seeing anyone, or I was choosing not to see anyone, and that it was going to be a very different experience, and I was just kind of mourning that a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I just sat at my piano and wrote this like sad song.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like a Friday, and then Saturday I had nothing to do, as one does during COVID. So I just went to my basement and I tracked it, and then I reached out to some people to see if I could quickly put together a music video, and you were one of them. You were in the video. People can check it out. And the response was incredible. So I ended up getting back so many videos, more videos than I could use, and then it was pretty overwhelming, the response that it got, and it was pretty cool because I think it was just a lot of people resonating with everything that was in the video because for anyone who hasn't seen it, people were just holding up signs of things that they really missed during COVID, and then things that they were excited for, looking forward to. And so it ended up being for me, it was very therapeutic, because it was kind of like being able to relate to people in a time that felt very isolated.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Because we forget that everyone's kind of going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah.
for me, it was therapeutic, and hopefully other
Exactly.
people got something like that out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, for myself, it was my first time spending Christmas in Calgary without my folks, my partner as well, Amanda, and it's just something we could really relate to. It hit home. So yeah, and it was awesome. But yeah, and what about your song "Rise Up" that was just recently released?
Right. So Rise Up, I wrote. It was part of the Rise Up initiative in Calgary, so it was a competition. It was a songwriting contest.
Right.
And they were picking the theme song for this initiative that they're launching. So I made it to the top 4, which was awesome. And then we made a music video. I don't know that I would have made the music video if I didn't make the top 4, because everything just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. I kind of did a similar thing because of COVID. I reached out to artists that I love in the city and had them sing along, and we made this really fun music video very quickly again. And yeah, it was just another song that, I don't know, the initiative Rise Up is about rebuilding the arts in Calgary. So not exclusively music, like visual arts, anything, just like really invigorating that industry. And so, when I wrote the song, it came together pretty quickly, because, I think about Calgary and like, I don't love everything about Calgary all the time. As someone who's born and raised here, there's some things I'm not fully aligned with when it comes to like our culture and stuff. But one thing that I love about us is that we rise up, you know what I mean? Whether it's the floods or if it's fires, if people need support, like Calgary really rallies together, and it feels like we always come out stronger.
Totally.
And I hope that's other places too, but I've lived here my whole life, so it's all I know. So Rise Up was really just about like, yeah, things got real for a bit, but you know what? We're just gonna be better after it anyways.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and yeah, I've lived a few places, and Calgary's been my favorite so far, and seeing how people actually band together and trying to solve issues together, right? And like even with this event, right? Like City of Calgary has said they're taking a stance on climate. They want to do something about it, raise some awareness.
Yeah.
Regeneration Society, who's put this Moving Mountains music thing on as well, same thing, right? It's awesome to see it, and people like you saying, yeah, I'm gonna come here and do this as well because I stand for it.
Yeah. There's a lot of power in that, and I think that it's easy to get caught up in like all the things that aren't working, or all the things that can be improved, right? Like everywhere there's lots of things, but I think that we have all of the right elements here, and we have all the right kinds of people, and then as soon as we can like just kind of like focus on it and do things like this and create conversations, I think the more of that, the better.
Totally. So yeah, tell me about what you've been up to over the past year during COVID. Like what is it like being an artist during the age of the pandemic?
Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think it's just a lot of like realizing that we didn't really know anything, right? We've had this one model of music or shows, and then I think as soon as we lost venues, that really forced people to get creative, which, maybe for artists we had a leg up in that, because, for most of us, we try to nurture that. I think that creativity is like, it's almost like a muscle. Right. So it's like everyone can be creative. I've heard a lot of people be like, oh, I'm just not creative. And it's a muscle. Like I could have abs, but I don't.
Me neither.
But I could. So I think like COVID has just been a lot of trying to think outside the box and trying to be open to opportunities where maybe you wouldn't look otherwise, things like this, and doing shows that are remotely done, which is something that we weren't really doing a lot of before.
Right.
And then, it's been a lot of, for myself anyways, it's been like a lot of self-reflection, because just like personally, I realized that I'm a very busy person. And I think a lot of my busyness was like self-preservation, because if I'm so busy, I can't really deal with like all the things that I'm like expertly suppressing. So COVID was a lot of like, whoa, I have to think now. What? So it's been really good overall. I think
getting lost in your own thoughts, and sometimes it's down, sometimes it's up.
It is mostly down, but it's been good. I think that this year has kind of showed everyone, whether it's what you wanted or not, or what you expected. I think it's shown everyone what they need to focus on.
Totally.
right? Because I think all of us have been left with ourselves a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we don't have all of the distractions of the busyness and the scheduling and the all of, right?
Totally.
Like we've really had time to just stop and
Yeah.
be like, what are the things that are weighing on me,
Mm-hmm.
right? What needs my attention? So
And would you say during this time, because you've had more time to yourself, that you've been able to write more songs, or is that hindering more because you can't get out there?
yeah, songwriting is a weird beast for me. It usually like it comes in waves. So I'd say at the beginning of the pandemic, I did almost nothing. I was really fortunate. I was one of 40 artists picked across across Canada for the RBCX music
Yeah.
program. So that was incredible. But like other than that, in the first like 5 months of COVID, I did nothing.
Yeah.
And it was because I was doing like a lot of self-reflecting, and I was just like doing a lot of like sitting in that. And it also felt like there was a lot of content. So I didn't feel like people needed my stuff, because I'm like, there's a lot
Gotcha.
of stuff online. There's a lot of things happening. I saw a lot of people pursuing music for the first time, which I thought was really, really cool. So I kind of like took it as an opportunity to like step back and just like
Awesome.
enjoy it instead of feeling like I had to participate.
Right.
And then probably around like November, December, which is when I started writing Almost Christmas.
Yeah.
Then I think I'd done enough processing that now I needed to write, because that's just part of my process of
Yeah.
going through life. I think is like
Yeah.
the final step of like every big thing is like now a song. Right?
That's totally fair. And you know what? I was actually one of those people. I could definitely relate with the first bit where you just did nothing, right? Like oh great, just gonna turn on the TV and grab a beer or something, right?
Yeah, it's
And
like, what
just,
can I binge watch? Tiger
right?
King? Cool.
Yeah, Tiger King. Wow, mind numbing, but yes.
Yeah.
And I started writing my first full songs, right, and during the age of the pandemic. And for the viewers out there who didn't know, Lisette is also my vocal coach, vocal teacher, whatever you like
so
call it.
good? Oh, so
I am
excited.
not good, but I'm working on it.
So good.
But yeah, like that. Thanks to you and and other artists out there who've inspired me to you know what, maybe I should do this. Like, and it's been helpful for my mental state as well, music. And to be able to put some words down and actually talk about climate and other social justice issues that are going on around the world. And honestly, it's because of local artists like yourself that inspire people like me to get and do that. So thank you.
It's so funny because like I feel the same way, but like reversed. Because like my favorite part of COVID, I think, has been watching people realize that art is a human experience and not exclusively a vocation. Because I think previously, you know, a lot of people would be like, well, I'm not a great singer. But it's not about being a great anything.
Right.
It's just like we sang to tell stories before we could write. You know, like it's part of being a human, I think, is
Totally,
experiencing
totally.
art and music and
Yes.
just like just you know, being a vessel for it.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
I think that my favorite part of this whole thing is people having time and being like, you know what? I want vocal lessons. I want
Yeah.
piano lessons. I just want to learn something, even if it's not going to be my job. Like I'm not going to quit my job and like become a singer, but it brings me joy. And I think just like that realization that if something makes you happy, it's worth doing.
Totally.
Like that's all you really need.
Yeah.
So I hope you know everyone got a chance of that. And I think that that's part of what brought me back to writing music was that for so long it was a job.
Right.
And so there was this pressure, right? If I was writing, I'm thinking about the release, I'm thinking about all these things simultaneously. And then, you know, by the time I'd spent a few months processing, it was like, oh yeah, this is therapy.
Yeah.
Like this is part of my experience as a human.
Exactly.
And then I was able kind of to go back to songwriting
Yeah.
in a more I don't even know, like just without intention. Which maybe sounds wrong, but I was able to just write for the sake of writing.
Yeah, and for fun, right? I
Yeah.
mean, music's got to be for the soul and for fun at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Exactly.
So I
Because
just
then
had to remind myself
Exactly.
that during a pandemic.
totally,
That's all it
totally.
took.
So, what would you tell new artists that are trying to kind of make a living during this time right now, like who want to kind of just take it on? What kind of
You
advice?
picked a
would
hard time, I would say. If you're gonna start living off music now, if you can do it now, you can do it anytime. It's hard. I think that
Yeah.
it's hard, and I think that knowing your why is important. You know, I think I can remember calling my best friend up after a show or in the middle of recording and just being like bawling, like I suck and I hate my voice and I hate this and I hate this. And she was like, totally. Okay, so now what? And I was like, well, I don't have a choice because I have to sing or I'm sad.
Oh no.
And she's like, okay, so then you have to sing and that's it. Like
Right.
you suck and you have to do it. And I'm like, yes, that's where I'm at. But for me, like, it was never about anything other than like, there's nothing else that fulfills me. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's nothing else that this sounds irrelevant, but it's relevant. I promise. Let me get there. My mom died when I was 9, very quickly. She was diagnosed with cancer in February, died in August. Progressed very quickly. And I remember it kind of set the tone for me that I never understood like short-term pain for long-term gain. And part of the reason I didn't get it was because like you don't know. You know, I watched her be fine, have a cough, and then just like die.
Oh, jeez.
Right? And so it kind of changes your perspective a little bit. So for me, it's just like, I'm not promised 6 months from now. I'm not promised
Right.
a year. What do I need to do now? Like whatever I wish I was doing in 5 years, how do I do it now? So, you know, if you're someone who's reflecting your life, whether it's music or something else, just figure out your why and then, you know, trust it.
Yeah.
And then just commit to it and do the work.
Totally. Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's very powerful for sure. So what can the people of Calgary here do to support local artists like yourself during these times?
It's so funny because I don't think that part's really changed, but I think the conversation is more apparent. Just
Right.
support them in how they're asking. You know, I think people have been pretty transparent, like buy their music. Streaming is not the same. Buy their music if you can. If they have physical copies, buy them. If
Yeah.
they have merch, buy them merch.
You have merch, don't you?
I do have merch.
Oh, wow.
What a crazy segue. Oh my
I'd
gosh.
love to hear about this.
Yeah, so am I allowed to swear? Probably not. So it's ethical AF. And it's my version of ethical merchandise that I could afford to make. You know, when I released I think it was Hot Mess a few years ago, I wanted new merch to go with it. And I was like, well, I'm trying to be more mindful. So I'm going to like figure out where my merch is coming from.
Yeah.
And that's what led me down the rabbit hole of why the textile industry is the worst. So I was like, well, I can't order merch the way I have before, which is kind of the way that everyone in the music industry orders merch. You go online, you buy in bulk, it's cheap, and you don't really think about what it's doing behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
I looked at new ethical options and I couldn't afford them because I'm a musician. And so I was just at Value Village, I think, and I saw this like really wicked shirt that was plain. There was no logos on it, and it was in great condition. And I just had this idea to upcycle shirts. So I reached out to a bunch of local printers. No one wanted anything to do with it because they were like, you are not putting those dirty shirts on our equipment,
Oh, no.
which is fair. But I did find one who was willing to partner with me, which
Yeah.
was the Dude Screen Printing. And so I washed the shirts. And then I
Nice.
designed logos, and then we printed on these shirts and upcycled them. And so I have this like one of a kind line of merch that's
I
really, really fun.
love that idea. And I remember when you did your single release for that song, and you had your merch table, and Amanda and I looked at it. We're like, wow, what a neat idea. And we wish more artists would actually do that, right? I mean,
Yeah, totally.
that's sustainability to its core right there, right? Is actually reusing stuff. So
100%. And I love talking about it because I want more people to do it. I've talked to so many
Yeah.
musicians, and I'm like, yo, there's options, there's ways.
exactly.
And so I think that it's just like little steps like this. It's little decisions. We don't have to change everything we're doing right now. But it's like,
Exactly.
what can I do tomorrow? What's relevant? Like, what's an opportunity to just be a little bit better? Not even perfect, just like a little
Yeah.
bit better.
Absolutely.
So
And actually, speaking of that, then, like, how would you say we can empower artists like yourself or artists around the city or even like famous artists really to speak more on climate change, on sustainability, on racial justice? Like, how can we do this?
you demand it.
Demand it.
You know, like
Okay.
I've talked to so many people about, you know, the climate crisis, and it's so interesting, especially like my pessimist friends who I love. They're just like, well, individuals aren't the problem.
Okay.
You know, it's these corporations. So if you look at the numbers, and I'm like, 100%. So like, what do these corporations care about? Monies. They care about monies.
Yep.
So all you have to do is not give it to them.
Right.
And I think that you can see that because there is this huge shift. If you go to like fast food venues, there's like Beyond Meat everywhere.
Right.
There's, you know, organic cleaning supplies in every aisle. And I don't think that that's like, oh, it's 2020, this just happened. It's because they saw a shift in the market. And so these companies, these huge corporations, are creating little pockets within their brand. And so, I mean, everyone has a different comfort level, but I would rather give these big evil corporations money in that specific window to
Right.
show them that that's where you need to invest. And I think that works on a local level too. You know, I've seen people that are like, they're printing their merch, and I'm just like, where'd you get your shirts? And they're just like, oh, like this website. And I was like, where do they get their clothes from? And they're like, oh, I didn't think about it. I'm like, you should look at it. And it, you know, it doesn't have to be an attack. It can just be a conversation. But I think just like asking people and letting them know you care
Absolutely.
is fair. Like I
Yeah.
remember when the election happened, like you were talking about racial injustice, you know, when it was Jagmeet kind of had just come on the scene. And I was at my grandma's house, who I love my grandma. You know, and she was just like, I don't like him. And I was like, well, what do you mean you don't like him? Like, you don't like his politics? And she was just like, I don't know. And I was like, well, what do you mean you don't know? And she was just like, well, like
no.
his family's not from here,
Oh,
you know?
no.
And I was just like, well, grandma, neither was mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm a first generation Canadian. My grandmother immigrated here. But, you know, she didn't even realize what she was doing. And as soon as we had a conversation about it, like she stopped and she was just like, you're right. And then she had to like she checked herself. And, you know, it was a
Good on
really
you.
cool moment.
Yeah.
But we have to maybe have hard conversations. And
Yeah.
I don't know. In my experience, they're never as hard as you expect them to be. Like with my grandma, I expected this, but she was just like, oh, you're right. Like what was that?
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. Like just having those tough conversations, like bringing it up in the first place, because I think today, a lot of people just feel like they don't want to step on other people's toes, don't want to, you know, make things awkward with people in conversation.
Right.
But I think this is really the time to start, because there's no better time than right now. There's a lot of stuff happening around the world, you know, in terms of climate and racial injustice towards Asian people as well. And it's been tough, right? And personally, I think artists have such an awesome platform to be able to speak to these things. And I think you're doing a great job, by the way. I love watching your stories and, like, you know, what you post and what you do with your merch as well. So you're definitely walking the talk, right? And I love that.
But I get it wrong a lot. And I think that's what people need to realize is that, like, even like I try my best. I mess up all the time. And then I'll have friends reach out to me and they're like, hey, Lisette, like, you shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, you're right. And it's okay. And it doesn't have to be this, like, big defensive thing. I can just, that's, like, my opportunity to be like, I'm not going to do that anymore, you know, and to just try and hold myself accountable. So, like, I think that's the biggest thing is, like, it's okay to mess up. And I think that when people, especially when they're doing their best, to just be open about that. Like, I mess up all the time. It's my greatest skill.
I do too.
Right?
Yeah.
But you just keep trying.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. And if you don't try, then you'll never get to where you want to be, right? Otherwise, everyone would do what's easy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and everyone does choose normally what's easy instead of what's necessary, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
I think that's a good point.
So, yeah, a couple more things here. Hey, how do you speak with your family about climate change stuff? And how do you bring it up?
A lot of it comes out with my family just being like, what are you doing? Why do you do that? I don't know. Like, I think I decided a long time ago that I didn't care about changing other people. Like, I didn't want to take that on. I didn't want to be, I guess I just didn't want to take that on my plate. Like, someone
Totally.
else's growth, that's not on me. All I can control is myself and my immediate family. So, like, me and my family, we're all vegan. You know, we don't buy new clothes, with few exceptions. Like, new underwear, kind of important. You know, and we do our best, right? We do our best with what we can when we can. And it's been a funny thing, because what I found is that when you just are just trying to live your best life, people will come to you, you know, and then it's been a lot easier for me, maybe, because that's just the choice that we made. But, you know, even my daughter had a school assignment, and it was about the climate. And it was like, and what can we do to help the climate? And with a focus on individual impact.
Awesome.
And so, you know, my 6-year-old went to vegancalculator.com, and
nice.
she got to figure out the impact that she's made.
Yeah.
And so she made this poster, and then we had a parent-teacher interview shortly after, and her teacher was saying how it was such a great discussion in the class. It led to this huge conversation, you know, and because my daughter was like, it's okay if you mess up, because she's messed up. You know, we've been at a party and she'll
For
cry
sure.
later. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
wrong? And she's like, I had the cookie I shouldn't have had.
Oh, no.
And so I think that was important for her to
Yeah.
not be perfect,
Mhm.
because then when she's having conversations with people, she can be like, it's not about 100% of the time. It's about doing my best when you can.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I
Yeah.
think for us, it's just about, like, we just do what feels good for us. And then people are curious because they're like, how are you not wasting away? Or
Where'd you get your protein? No, I'm joking.
Right,
Anyways,
exactly.
yeah. Different
Right.
topic, but yeah.
My partner works out, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And so that's like his favorite. Like, where do you
Yeah.
get your protein? He's like,
Yeah.
don't. It's around.
Yeah, totally. Well, thanks for sharing that story. That's awesome. And any plans for a new single soon, new EP, LP maybe?
There's something
What
in
can
the
we expect here?
works. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's something in the works, and
Okay.
it's all I'll say about it is that, in the past, I think when I touch on like heavier things, I tend to like be more cryptic about it. So it's like, here's a love song, but it's not a love song, but it sounds like a love song. So it's like I'm expressing myself, but also I'm not, so I'm safe. But this past year of COVID has been like, the work is real, and I think anyone that's been doing self-work this year, which I think is a lot of us, it's real, and there's no way to disguise it. And I think that once you start working on it truly, you don't want to anymore, because it's like, I did not do all of this work
Right.
to like make this an easy pill to swallow for you. So the music that came out of it was very transparent, and so I'm really excited about an EP
Ooh, okay.
that is well into the
Are we
work.
allowed to know a timeline?
Soon.
Soon. I'll take that. That's awesome.
COVID keeps delaying things, I'll be honest. I've had this music video that like has been delayed 4 times.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
Cool.
for sure, I would say before like 2021 for sure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What about a comedy tour? I feel
Oh God, no.
you're one of the funniest people I know. I think
Thank
you got
you.
a comedy tour.
Thank you. it'll be spliced in.
Awesome.
It'll be half music, half
Perfect.
bad jokes.
Awesome. Well, any final words that you'd like to tell the viewers? Maybe how they can impact the community in whatever way: climate, racial justice, social justice, animal justice, anything you want to say to them. Here's your chance.
I would say that whatever you're doing is enough. So don't stress out that you're not doing enough, because I think that a lot of times we think about like best case scenario, right? And then it's all or nothing, and it can be very overwhelming and daunting. So what you're doing is enough, and you should celebrate that. And the next time there's an opportunity to maybe do a little bit more and you have the capacity, do it. See if it's in the cards for you. Like I talked about my toothbrush. Like that seems insignificant, but I don't think it is at the end of the day. I think if all of us are just making these little decisions as often as we can, it's enough. And just, ask questions and go in with an open heart. And I haven't had anyone yell at me yet, so.
That's good. Well, hey, very, very, very wise words. And where can people find you if they want to reach out to you, your Instagram, whatever else? Like, where can they find you?
Lisette Xavier on all the things. LisetteXavier.com. Lisette Xavier on Instagram.
Xavier, like the X-Men guy?
Like X-Men, exactly. And do I have a shirt with Professor X on it? Yes, I do. It's not an ethical shirt. It's from before I knew better, but that means they're cheap now, so
Awesome.
you can upcycle it.
Totally. Well, thanks so much, Lisette, for being here. It's just been awesome to chat, just frankly, and your music's been awesome. Like I said, love watching you grow, and so excited to catch your new EP coming out, right? And to watch you perform live, hopefully when things open up, right? So
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah,
And thank you
yeah.
to everyone who tuned in today and who's been watching all the seminars. There's been some really brilliant conversations, so thanks for
Awesome.
being here.
And and so in conclusion, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Music really does, I'd say, make you feel the feels to do things you need to do. I know it sounds weird, but honestly, for me, poetry, music, whether you're sad, happy, depressed, or you want to get a good workout in, or you know what, you want to go do something good for the community, I tune in music for everything. And it's people like Lisette and all the artists that we had today, Rome IX, Spenser, Sipe, Brewster, Wakefield Brewster, sorry. People like those that really help shape the community and the art community especially, and make it more vibrant, and get the community going, and making us be able to live in a happy place and do more. And by the way, behind the screens here you can't see. His name is Eric Minden. He's our video guy. He's the production person. He's also a music artist. Oh, there is that him? Oh no, you can show yourself. Yeah, there he is, right there. He's also an artist himself, and he actually owns this amazing studio that we have right here. So thanks so much, Eric, for doing this. And like I said, if you ever need some music production done, he is your guy. Another shout out to the Regeneration Society for hosting this awesome event, Moving Mountains, and to the City of Calgary for recognizing that climate change is important and should be made aware of and doing this annually. Thank you to everyone. Again, we are on Treaty 7 land, acknowledging the people that are still here and the land in who we took from, and making sure that we can live together in a society with less hate. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional because with all the stuff happening, but awesome to see Calgarians stepping up and to fight for people. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks, Lisette, for being here.